Hey guys, not a whole lot of good really comes from California. One of those is Apex Performance, making their trigger pieces, as well as doing modifications for your firearms. The second is actually a company called CA Holsters. This is Agent Kyle, and today I'm bringing you my review on the CA Holsters OPPH, stands for One Piece Pistol Holster. So we'll start with a really quick overview of this. It's just Kydex. For those of you who don't know, Kydex is a wonderful material. It's formed through thermoforming, so you heat it up and then you press it into shape and then it holds its form. And so you heat it up again. Kydex is a preferred material to use with holsters simply because they don't wear out over time like leather holsters do. Kydex will be the material I use for my holsters from now on until the day I die, until they come out with a better material to use. So something I do want to point out almost immediately here is, as we see the edges, they aren't a high polish, and I think that's completely okay. I know some people really get off on having high polished edges. My opinion on that is you're paying somebody extra now to high polish that edge for you. Might as well save a little bit of money and forego high polishing, since you're never going to see it and it's holding your gun. Your carry gun is a tool, so treat it as such. His holsters are made from 0.08 thickness Kydex. What that means is you've got plenty of rigidity here. So I'm squeezing, not a ton of force, but it's not a little teeny tiny bit. You could definitely crush a grape 2 or 3 times over with the amount of force that I just squeezed right there. The same thing over here. So it's very rigid, but at the same time, it does allow for a little bit of flexibility, which is nice for appendix carry especially. So why CA holsters? Kydex holsters are about a dime a dozen, especially if you're on Instagram. You can see everybody out there who makes them. Quality is different with each and every manufacturer, but why CA holsters? First and foremost, his communication was just spot on. I originally wanted MAS gray and police blue, and I sent my request in, put my order through, paid for it, and he sent me an Instagram because he asked for any social media outlet, just because it's easier sometimes getting hold of social people through social media. And he's like, "Hey man, this MAS gray won't look so good with this police blue." And I was like, "Oh well, why is that, man?" And he told me that MAS gray is kind of this green-ish color, and against the blue, it's not that it would look bad, but it would look kind of off. So he recommended going the gray back MAS front or blue back gray front. So I went with the gray and blue as we see here. So his communication has just been amazing, and it's been like that ever since I put my purchase in on day one. Another really cool thing about that is this used to be my concealment claw. As we see here, it's no longer present in the function in which it's supposed to be doing. So it broke off a couple weeks ago. I sent him a message. Within an hour, he shot me an Instagram DM back, told me go ahead and take the screws out and shoot him a photo with measuring tape right there, and he'll send me another one, since these are made custom to fit each and every holster. So another thing that is really cool about this guy was actually the price. It's not that I don't want to pay $100, $100+ for a holster, but I just don't want to pay that much money for a holster. I purchased this at the time of this video, $75 with my custom color options. At what point then do you say, okay, let me buy the $100, $105, $120 Kydex holster? No matter what it's got on a tactical fuzz, whatever, it's still a Kydex holster at the end of the day. At what point do you purchase that holster and you still just have a holster? For the extra money that I saved, I went out and bought an extra 100 rounds, for example. So the price point for me was just there on that. Some of the customization options on this was actually the open bottom here for a threaded barrel, as well as, and it's very tough to see now, so I'll go ahead and just snag my little Glock 43. As we see, nothing in the chamber. And at this time we'll go ahead and actually put a snap cap magazine in. So there we go, open bottom here in case I wanted to go threaded barrel. And these originally had suppressor height sights. They look pretty thin now, and I'll talk about that just a little bit later on in the video. But he was really good to communicate with me as far as my custom options went on this holster. Another thing is really good retention. Actually, again, I'll go ahead and reinsert the gun at this time. And this is after I've actually taken time and really loosened it up. These have Loctite on them, and they're at the loosest point they can be, just because I don't want to, yank my belt through my belt loops. Type of high retention. So if you don't like adjustable retention holsters, don't buy an adjustable retention holster. Buy what you want. So retention's really good. Another really small thing is just actually attention to detail on the holster itself. And the point I'm going to show right here is actually this. That is space for your top round to go inside your holster. It's one of those things that you would think is a no-brainer, but the fact that he definitely takes the time there to do little things like that is excellent. On the back here, now granted, I've seen other companies that have better forming, but you know what, it's whatever, it's a meat point for me. But he does give options here for this little raised portion, your slide stop, as well as your little takedown lever right over there. It's not really a lever, it's just a spring-loaded switch almost. So another thing that I really looked for whenever I purchased this holster was actually the Tuckable Clips. For me, I've used the Tuckable Clips now twice. If you don't ever think you're going to use them, don't buy a holster that has them. But for me, the Tuckable Clips are very discreet. They just don't take up a lot of room, and I've used it twice tucking in my shirt. The gun and the holster just disappears. So I really recommend to go with Tuckable Clips of some sort, whether it be soft loops, this style clip, G-code, whatever have you. Tuckable Clips are fantastic. So let's kind of move now towards not necessarily bad things about this, but they are things that I just need to bring up with all the same. I've always done this with all my reviews that you guys have seen if you follow me on the channel. I just want to give you a real world experience of what this is. No one's paying me to do things like this. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and mention is, just since my firearm's in there already, is actually when I first got it, I was practicing my draw as you always should, and there's just not a lot of room right here. My knuckle actually hits the holster every single time, as you can see on my middle finger knuckle right there. So that little white spot there is from me hitting the holster. It's not really a bad thing. I've adjusted the way I draw. Now I understand that if I wanted to have no retention claw here and just nix that entirely, I wouldn't have the problem at all. Now that my retention claw is broken, I think I probably would have done that. But you live and you learn. It's okay. And it's only Glock 43. It doesn't print too terribly bad anyways. And I'm a really, really thin guy. So whatever. It's just one of those small things. I've let him know about it, and he's like, yeah, it's just because there's not a lot of room here to put a clip on it. You gotta pick and choose your battles on this one. So another really small thing about this holster is actually these little shiny spots on it. This one right here came on the holster whenever I got it. I don't know what it's from. It might be from overheating. I don't know. It doesn't affect the performance of the holster at all. It's definitely not brittle by any means, and I've dropped it before, so not with my gun in it obviously, but I was showing my in-laws or something. I dropped it and it was cold and we were outside, and holster's just fine. The other part is, and this is Kydex as a whole, this is not CA holsters, but it's definitely a point to note if you are going to spend the extra and get some form of camo on it. If you see in these two spots right here, sorry, I kind of rotate this around, how they're shiny. On the jeans that I wear, they've got buttons like you would find on the very top button of your jeans, but they run all the way down where the zipper would be. And they just wear here and here. It's nothing bad, and it's more so right here, but it's just one of those really small points that you need to be aware of if you're planning on spending the extra to go ahead and upgrade to a camo option. No matter whose holster it is, if you're wearing jeans like that, you will probably eventually wear off the print and go straight through there. Some of the things now that I had to do to the holster, and these are my own points on this. This isn't any hits against CA holsters. This is just small things I had to do. The first and foremost thing is let's talk about the retention. When I first got it out of the box, the thing was so tight that I went to go in and draw, and I had to really just, and it finally came out. So bad sound effects, I know, but it gets the point across. The holster was incredibly tough to get the gun out of the holster. I actually had to take a hairdryer and heat up the back side of this, and just with the butt end of a Sharpie, I had to go and push out along my trigger guard some to loosen that retention. As we see here, there is wear on my trigger guard still. and that's blue plastics or blue Kydex still coming off. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. It's whatever at this point. It's not as bad on the other side. So all the retention comes from the back of the holster. That was one small thing I had to do. The other thing was actually this bend. When I first got it, the bend was a little less pronounced. It was almost straight across. So Chance, if you're watching this, man, this is just my own point, but I wish the holster would come just with a little bit more bend, you know, something like that even, because when you put this holster on and it sits against you, it'll naturally force itself forward. But if you need it to be tighter this way, you need it to be bent that way. So I've taken time with a hairdryer again, and I've bent the holster. It won't ever be as good as it was if it would have came that way from the factory. But those are just my 2 points, and my 2 points alone. So no hits against the manufacturing process, but whenever I go to order one of these again in the future, I will ask him to put more bend in it for me. So another really small thing, just and this will be something that gets improved, I'm sure, over time, is just he tests and evaluates. One thing that I think would be really cool is actually to get rid of the double clip option and just go single clip right here on the gun, for example. And all you really got to do is just put something here on your blue gun, green gun, real gun, whatever, to lift it up like what we see right here. And then you can attach a clip right there. Or you can even put it here. Just a one-clipped option would be really cool because it makes the holster even more discreet. Another really small thing is just removing of excess material. So it would have been really cool if he would have taken these and instead of running them horizontally, he would have made them the same angle with the magazine, so that way we shave off just a little bit. So where I wear my holster with the gun being exact center of my body, and I pick up my left leg and go as high as I can, I actually get pinched right through here. So anything to mitigate that, just to make it a little smaller, would be greatly appreciated. So, but like I said, these aren't major hits against him. These are just really small, minor things that I found for myself. So overall, the holster is incredibly comfortable to wear. I've gone on 4 road trips with it where we spent 5 hours in a car each, and then small minor things, driving around town, getting in and out of the car a lot. The length of the gun obviously helps with it not poking you further down your abdomen. And no, guys, you're not going to poke yourself in the junk. Don't be quite so, don't think of yourself so highly. It doesn't happen. So the holster is very, very comfortable to drive with over long periods of time. So it's very easy to put on, obviously just because of the clip style, and it tucks. I don't have enough good things to say about this holster. I know we're quickly approaching 15-minute mark here, but overall, I am incredibly satisfied with this holster. I will definitely be buying something else from him again in the future. He doesn't offer any outside the waistband options at this time, and I think that's okay. I've asked him if he would, and he prefers to stick with IWB options because you might as well perfect something, rather be perfect at one thing than be great at a lot of things. And so he's really boiling down and perfecting his inside the waistband holsters here. So anyways, guys, again, I'm going to put the link to his website down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and check him out on Instagram.com, or on your Instagram feed as a whole. Excellent guy to work with. Excellent product that he brings forward. This thing has been attached to my person now for a couple months. Really, in the grand scheme of it, no complaints. No complaints whatsoever. Just my own personal modifications and my own feelings on some things. So anyways, guys, this is Asian Kyle signing out. Brought to you today the OPPH by CA Holsters.